Well, hello, my leading ladies. It's good to have you back here again, and another great topic for this week that we'll be talking about. And if you're not already one of my leading ladies, in the comments down below, there will be a link to our private Facebook page where you can come and join us. So come and join us over there and just learn about some different things. I dive in a little bit more on different ways to view things, look at stuff. You can also get individual coaching from me through there as well. So a lot of good resources that I want to offer to you. So come join my private Facebook group. So today's topic, we are going to be talking about the behavior, codependency behavior of control. So right there at the beginning, control. And there are three behaviors that I kind of group together. So I have 4 different categories and 3 behaviors in each one. And control is in that behavior of obsession, control, and denial. And those 3 behaviors that are found in codependency, those are behaviors that we see in others, but we don't see in ourselves. Those are kind of those behaviors that we are really quick to point out in other people. And we might say, well, they're controlling us. Well, their actions, this is controlling us. And we are not in the presence of being self-aware enough that we can actually see that that's happening. And I am a victim of that. I guess not a victim. I chose that situation. I'm not a victim, but I chose that scenario, that thinking, that way of thinking, that it was always somebody else's fault. It was outside of me. They were controlling me. I was feeling like I was trapped. And as I've explored and did personal counseling and coaching and all the things that I've done in my life, coming to a realization that the creating of self-awareness, which is the leading lady behavior that I replace control with, creating self-awareness in my life really has created that sense of peace and self-love and being able to be present with somebody and really listen to them and just be present and not have to do anything but listen. Just the truth of self-awareness, that calmness that comes with it. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. So let's dive into the beginning behavior, right? So the situation as a codependent, that we are having a sense of control. We are actually thinking that others are controlling us. We feel like we're not being heard. We are feeling like we're being dismissed. We are trying all we can. We do all these nice things, these good things, and expecting something in return. So we are showing up in a way that is creating this sense that nobody's listening to us. And why don't you hear me? What if you would just do what I said? You know, that's even times there, right? You know, if you would just do this, then everything would be better. And one of the things I would ask you to question yourself is if you ever find yourself in a situation where you are thinking, if they would just listen to me, if they would just change this, it would be better. And I want to offer you the thought that question that in your own self and go, would that really be the truth? Would they be better? And if they were better, and if things did change, would I find something else to complain about? Because if you were anything like me, I would. No matter if anybody was changing or not, I was really quick to point out their faults and their fault findings. And so I was really good at nagging. I was great at being passive aggressive. And I knew it all, right? If you would just do this, then you would be happy. Everything would be fine if you would just listen to me. And so when we are showing up in a relationship where we are actually the ones that are truly, what's kind of going on here is that we are trying to control something outside of us. Again, right, there's something you're seeing in my videos probably, the codependent relationship, the codependent behavior that we portray is always outside of us. You know, we don't have control over what people do or say or think or anything. We only have control of ourselves. And so when we start to really dive into it, those codependent behaviors are all things that are outside of us. Like before, the obsession, right? We're obsessing about something outside of us. We can't change that. And so this control thing, right? We're people pleasing. We're doing everything for somebody else outside of us. So realizing that anytime we show up in the world where that behavior, that codependent behavior is outside of us, that's a really good time for us to go, okay, what's going on within me? What need am I trying to meet that I'm trying to get met by this other person that I need to meet for myself? You know, have you ever stopped to ask yourself that question? Like, what, I'm showing up this behavior, I'm nagging somebody about something. What need do I need to meet myself that would actually suppress that concept or me even wanting to nag them because I've already met the need? I mean, you know the saying, right? If they're pointing one finger at you, three fingers are pointing back at them. So anytime we're pointing the finger saying, if you, there's three fingers pointing back at us. And there really is some truth to that. Most of the time when we are nagging at somebody about something else, there's something that's going on within us that we are frustrated, that we're not changing, that we're not doing. So we are portraying that out onto them. We are just projecting this out onto them, right? That word projecting that we've probably heard before. And so really getting clear on that with yourself and being honest with yourself, like, why is this showing up for me and what need can I meet myself? And, you know, before I start picking and stuff them apart about all the things that they need to be doing, what is something that I need to do? Like, what am I not doing? What can I improve on? And how can I exchange that nagging and start creating more of that peace in my life? Because man, peace feels so much better than nagging. And it is a process. Right? It's not just going to happen overnight. Just because you watch any of these videos I do, you won't be like, oh, now it's okay, I can figure out. This is a process. This is a growing experience. Life is ongoing. Situations will always come up and occur in our lives. And us really kind of grabbing a hold of that and embracing that and excited for that and looking forward to that can really change the energy in which we show up in our life and in the world around us. So, right, that nagging versus that peace. So things also with that would be saying, you know, if I don't do this, nobody else is going to do it, or they're not going to do it the way that I want them to do it. When we start to really kind of become that martyr, I guess, you know, a lot of times you might have heard of that as well, and just become that victimhood mentality that I've got to do everything, that nobody else is going to do it. When we start having that empty feeling, that is creating that energy that we feel like we start to spiral. So it's interesting. Momentum is really fascinating because we can get a lot of momentum towards that victimhood, and we can just keep on rolling down the hill with victimhood, and it will actually get bigger and bigger, the snowball effect, right? Get bigger and bigger and bigger. And we can also do the reverse. We can also start to see things that we need to improve on and how we want to feel when we show up and what energy we want to give out into the world and how that affects us personally, what we're thinking, how that's affecting us and how we can create peace. And then we start to snowball on it, and it gets easier as we start to move forward and snowball and go forward with that momentum. So either way, right, can change the momentum in how we're showing up in this world. So that control, that outside, you know, nagging that individual, passive aggressive. One thing I want to talk about, and I mentioned this in the blog that I did on this post as well. So again, in the comments down below, you will see the link to the blog that I wrote about this topic as well. One of the things I talked about with passive aggressive is a lot of times we do leading questions with our loved ones. So we'll say, you know, you're not mad at me, are you? Do you still love me? Or is something, so I guess in that way that you kind of know the energy behind those questions, right? I mean, if you really sat back and thought, why am I questioning if somebody loves me or not? And what good is that doing for me? Do I feel like I need to be validated? And why do I think I need to be validated? What would it feel like if I didn't say things to try to manipulate the other person to show up a certain way? What if I just became me and then they brought me flowers to work because they simply just wanted to? Not because I was trying to make them show up a certain way. I just allowed them to be them. You know, what would that be like? What if I just, did my task of what I need to do, and then all of a sudden they do the dishes one day and I didn't even ask them. I didn't nag them. I wasn't being passive aggressive. They just chose it. So I want to offer to you that can happen throughout the process as we start to get really clear on how we need to show up, and we just start to have that peace, that self-love, that calminess around us, that people want to do good things for you. Those that are in a good place, those that are striving and trying to be in a good place, they start to actually want to do that because they like the energy you're giving to them, because they can be themselves around you. They don't have to be, try to behave a certain way, because if they don't, they think you're going to nag or be mad at them. They don't have to do that anymore. They can just be themselves. And when you allow people to just be themselves, and that you actually have faith that they can figure it out, that you believe in them, they start to show up in a way that they want to be their true self around you, because they feel comfortable around you. They know that they can be. And so that's when we start to drop control. We allow people to actually show up that way, because we're not demanding it. We're not expecting it from them. Because when we're in that feeling of control, we feel like we're out of control. So most of the time, the funny thing about control is that you actually, more time than not, you feel the 80% time you feel out of control, and 20% you feel in control. Like, that's really what's going on there in that scenario, is when you feel like you're being in control. So that passive aggressive, that, questioning things that have something behind that question, asking a question in a sense that you're wanting a certain response, not just an open-ended question. And then thinking that you know it all, right? So that, well, if you just did it my way, it would all be fine. You just know it all. So I want to say that this energy that's creating in yourself, that you're feeling like you're just kind of torn, that you don't know which way to go, I want to offer that getting clear on self-awareness can really help in your process of your growth and forming that peace. Because not peace because of what they did or did not do, but peace because how you chose to show up. You see the difference? It's not based on what they did or didn't do, but you've got peace because you wanted the dishes to be done. You went to the kitchen, you did the dishes, and you're like, oh, good, the dishes are done. And you didn't have that, you're getting rid of that thought, I wish they would have done the dishes. I've been working all day, can't they just do the dishes? Because when you're coming from that energy, it's not going to help you in the long run. You're going to keep on fighting it. And then that fighting is going to show up in your relationship in other ways. And so really just getting clear on what it is and how you want to show up and how that energy feels for you. So what that emotion looks like and what's those thoughts you're having behind that emotion. And so that peace, you're able to create that self-love. I don't need to ask the question, do you still love me anymore? Because I could ask the question, do you love me? Like, you could ask that question. There might be no leading thing to it. You just might be asking for a yes or no. And whatever their response is up to them. That's their choice. And we let them have that. Like, we let them choose that response of whatever it is they want to say. And we don't make it mean something more than it does. We just allow them to be them. And so when we have that self-love, we don't need to question that. And actually in more cases of what starts to happen is they just start to show you love. So you already know they love you. You don't even have to ask it, because you just feel the love because you have love for yourself. So you can feel that love and you generate that emotion that you want to feel. And then you choose to listen because you honestly care. You don't want to be in control. You don't want to know it all. You want to listen more. You're like, I don't want to be telling everybody what I think they should do. Actually, it's a lot less energy to sit around and trying to tell and march orders, tell everybody what to do, than to just sit and listen and be present with people and, you know, not needing to find solutions for them and just being present with yourself and with them. It's a totally different energy field. And it's just one that I want to suggest that you might want to experience, and you might want to experience it more the more you do experience, you know, right? That snowball effect. You just want to experience it more. And then you start to kind of zone in and how that energy feels, and then you start to create it more ways in your life. So when it comes to codependency, dropping control and letting go can be a huge thing in your journey towards creating more of the life that you want and how you want to show up in the world. And so when we start to gain more self-awareness of how our responses and our actions and what we're doing, and what that's playing what role in the relationship, we can start to have a little more compassion towards ourselves and maybe towards the other people in our lives that we love, that we are trying to control more. And not doing it on purpose, not like we're trying to, or it's more of a just behavior. It's something that we might have seen. We might have seen a parent do it. We might, for whatever reason, found that it satisfied a need at a time in our lives. And understanding that we can now let it go, that I don't need to feel that need anymore. I don't need to hold on to it. I can now let it go and just let people be and be completely happy and just love them for where they are, because I love me and for all my faults and where I'm at. So I can choose to love them as well. Thank you for watching this video. Again, if you enjoyed the content of this, please make sure that you can check out the my newsletter, my blog that's on this topic as well. That's in the comments down below. And then if you like this as well, you can make sure to join us on Codependent to Leading Lady, my Facebook group. We'd love to have you. Take care of you. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye.